Fall in. Dress right dress, cover down, 4 and 40 all around. It's time for the Abington Veterans Muster. On this month of November, as we go into Thanksgiving, Veterans Day, and the Marine Corps birthday, all in one, it's going to be an exciting time and an exciting show, and I'm glad you're at attention. We're going to start with the Abington's annual Veterans Celebration on Wednesday, November 12th from 10:30 to 12:30 p.m. at the Council on Aging. We have 40 resource tables of organizations coming to tell you about resources for veterans, support from the Abington Middle School and High School. South Shore Votech is going to be doing food service and a whole lot of other cool things going on. We thank everyone involved. Thank you, Council on Aging, for your support of this annual event. Next is the Quad Town Veterans Day celebration. This is going to take the towns of Abington, Rockland, Whitman, and Hanson will all come together to put on an event Sunday, November 9th from noon to 3 p.m. at the Whitman VFW. That's on 95 Essex Street in Whitman, Mass. It's going to be a place where if you're a veteran in one of these towns, you can come down and take part of this celebration for you. And all 4 towns have come together to make this an event as we embrace veterans on this special time. The Abington Hero Banner is going to start coming up in Abington. Now we have the Purple Heart sign toppers out now, but you're going to see these hero banners come up, and these banners are going to have pictures of people who served from the Abington area, Abington town, connected to Abington, and it's just a great way to make sure that we honor those who have served their country in a very special way. Now, before we get to our guest, I think I'm most excited, just me personally, and biased, I'm very biased, that it's the 250th birthday of the Marine Corps. That's right, and I served in the Marine Corps, and every Marine who's alive right now is like, wow, this is a special time. 250 years, Chesty Puller, I know you're out there watching somewhere, and I'm kind of going off script, but I don't care because I think it's only special that I sing the Marine Corps anthem, the first verse, as part of this Abington Veterans Muster. Here we go. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our nation's battles in the air, on land, and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Hoorah! I'm telling you what, if that doesn't get you going, I don't know what will. Chesty Puller, Mr. Basilone, and all of the Marines before us, we thank you for the legacy that you left behind so we can take that forward. We have a special guest coming up next. We want to thank you for checking us out. Stay tuned. Our guest is next. And we're back. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for staying here. And this is the best part of the show. One of the things that I get asked a lot by people who didn't serve in the military or are not serving in the military is, I have a business, I have a nonprofit, I have a service, I have a product that I want to offer to veterans or make sure that my place of business is welcoming to veterans. And to those of you who have asked that question, I consider you all true patriots. Maybe you didn't serve, but the fact that you want to make sure that those who did serve are welcomed in your house, so to speak, speaks highly to me. And my next guest embodies that perfectly. I can't say enough, and I'm not going to just hold up anymore. I want to welcome Yasmin Zachary of Yaz's Table and Boutique to the Abington Veterans Muster. Yaz, thank you so much for joining us. I can't wait to dig into who you are, what you do, and so I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
So there's all kinds of good stuff because I have come to Yaz's table a couple of times, just a couple.
Just a few times.
And I still haven't gotten to all the good stuff. But before we get into that, give me an idea of your background, who you are, and why are you here?
Yeah, so, well, my background, I'm Egyptian. My family came here many moons ago. And what's interesting is that we settled in Abington, and coming along and growing up in this town. I mean, I went to the high school, not this beautiful high school now that they've created, which I'm so jealous. But yeah, growing up here was interesting. And what was really big about the community here is that even when my family came here, we didn't have much, but the community always came together to support us. And growing up, originally I was in an entirely different field than the restaurant industry, but going into opening a business here, it almost ended up being a way that I can give back to the community. So opening Yaz's Table wasn't just opening a restaurant. It was more so opening a place where people can come and commute together and come together around the table and be treated with the true love and hospitality that my culture, it represents, just being Egyptian. And it is a nice way of giving back and just seeing the support, even through all the crazy hard times, the opening, the pandemic, just every crazy situation. And there's so many more that that you were literally there for. But the community just made me feel like they wanted me here. And so it was just really nice.
It's called Yaz's Table with the emphasis on table. And when you think about the word table is, there's a table everywhere, houses, boardrooms, office rooms, but it's more than that to you and the people that you welcome at the table. Where does that desire to build that community come from and have people come to your restaurant, sit down and feel at home away from home?
Well, that's the thing. You nailed it. I want people to feel at home away from home. So when they come to my table, it's literal, and that's how I train my team, is that these folks are our guests. I kind of almost have a way when I say to the staff as we're training, I'm like, you're all hosting my wedding every single day. And all these guests, you want to make sure, if you're my wedding planner, everyone's happy. Everyone's got a drink in their hand. If you see someone looking around, most likely they're looking for something. Engage in that perspective. It's what you would do at home, right? It would be what you'd be doing at your wedding. And so that's how we want to be able to serve our community and our guests coming through. So they're literally at my table.
So a little in topic, off topic, but you talk about family and community and table. Your mother figures heavily into where you've come from and what you do now. And she'll come to the restaurant and walk through and say hello to guests. What's that like, having that relationship with your mother and then having her be a part of what you do?
Oh, it's a blessing. It really is. And it's a blessing to even be able to say that she's there, big part of it, and coming through, because not a lot of people can say that. My mom and I, even just with the restaurant, it just brought us even closer and closer. And to be inspired by her as a woman, as a leader in my life, as a huge mentor, and then coming together in business was just an amazing opportunity. And seeing the little touches, like for me, I'm big on the little touches, but my mother sees the further details that I don't see, and I'm like, okay, this is great. So just really, you get that mother-daughter love in every single aspect of the business, not just the plates, not just the food.
You're well known in the community, no doubt. I mean, we travel on 139, you can see the restaurant right there, but also over time, you become more and more renowned. You've gotten awards, write-ups, Phantom Gourmet, and people outside of the South Shore know about you. How have you maintained your core principle of being that family atmosphere while, seeing people from states away, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, come down to go to your restaurant to eat? Is there ever a time where you got to step back and say, how I need to stay focused on the core mission, the core focus of what I do, while understanding that you're being more and more renowned as time goes on?
Well, I think a big part of what keeps me grounded is my faith. Because I wouldn't be here if God didn't want the restaurant to be here. I mean, I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and I've owned Yaz's for 8 now. And so the things I've seen happen normally in restaurants, not normal at my restaurant. The stuff that happens, I should have shut down at least half a dozen times from certain situations, not just including COVID. Even just looking at the bank account at times, I'm like, how are we going to pay the bills? How are we going to make payroll? And then yet, nothing makes sense. but then it all ends up still pushing through and surviving. And I'm so grateful to that. So it keeps me focused, and my faith is, God made this all happen. Even just the location itself. And it shows me, because I didn't have interest I didn't know where I wanted to do this. In fact, just the opening of the restaurant, working for other restaurant owners, it was kind of not on the top of my mind or desire to be a restaurant owner. But then it just happened. I was like, really, are we doing this? Because restaurant owners go through a lot. I always say to people, the root of my success my entire life has always been in my hands. I always, I wouldn't wait for someone to train me on a certain aspect. I'd teach myself, or I'd push for it. And I just grew. I mean, at 33, I was offered a position that takes 33 years of experience just to obtain and to go through an interview. And at 33, I nailed that job position in Boston. It was the director of operations for a company called Taste on the Fly.
Oh, wow.
Literally, I'd be the director of ops for every restaurant in the airport. So imagine that position. And it was a six-figure opportunity. And I was like, yes. And a week before I was about to start the job, and mind you, it took me 3 months to get through the whole background check and talking to every CEO, CFO. It was nuts. And finally, I'm about to start. And then I get a phone call from someone out of the blue.
Out of the blue.
Out of the blue. I mean, it was crazy, because I did a lot of consulting for other restaurants as well, as a director of operations, opening and developing other establishments. And it was a gentleman. He called me. He's like, hey, Yaz, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm from Realtor Business, blah, blah, blah. And I see that your information's in our database for Abington and for businesses, local businesses for sale. So there's happened to be business in Abington that is for sale, and we thought you might be interested. I'm like, wait, how did you get my information? And apparently I must have signed up for a website called localbusinessforsale.com, and I put my credentials in just because I was looking for something for another client of mine, and all of that just went to junk mail. So my database, my information was still in their database. So I was like, you know what, out of curiosity, I'm just gonna come down, because he said it was on Route 18. I was like, I drive by Route 18 every day. And he said, it's right next to the ice cream shop. There's a small little like breakfast sandwich shop-esque area. I'm like, wait a minute. What? I know the ice cream shop. And because both sides were painted red, for me, I always thought that's where they kept the cows. Like sorry. I mean, I just didn't know that was, a restaurant side. And when I walked in, I'm telling you, Travis, like, people might think I'm crazy, but when I walked in, I got goosebumps all over my body, and like there was a voice that said, this is for you. And I'm like, wait, wrong number. No. I'm about to start my dream job next week. There's no way.
No way.
No way. And I was like, how is this even going to align for how much? I don't have the finances. I don't have the backing, right? With even just jumping into that is like the last thing I think I'd ever want to do. But then after that, I had walked through with the owner, who's the owner of the ice cream shop, Craig and Lenora, and at the time it was called Cream ETC, Cream Etc., and they just wanted it as a turnkey business sale. So what they were offering to sell it as a turnkey, I was like, okay, good to know, in case someone calls me and asks me, hey, Yaz, do you know a spot? Not even 24 hours later, now this is where God comes in, I get a phone call from a lawyer who I haven't spoken to in 3 years, and he says, Yaz, do you remember that car accident you were in 3 years ago? I was like, yeah. He said, it finally settled. I'm like, what?
It took 3 years.
What? Yeah. And I said, for how much? And the number that he gave me, I was like, wait a minute, that's insane. Just 24 hours later, it was half of what they were asking for the business. And I was like, wait a minute, God, wait, are you telling me that this is what you want me to do? I'm like, no, first of all, how? It's only half of what I need. And then I just had this thought of how I'm going to approach it. So I went to the owners and I said, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you a quarter of what you're asking. And then in 6 months later, I'm going to give you $1,200 for the next 2.5 years to make up for the rest. I'm sorry, folks, but would you say yes to that? But they said yes. And I'm like, no. I was like, ah. And once you're convicted and God convicts you in that way, you can't go out the opposite.
Isn't there an element of faith in just, you prepare a recipe, you put everything together and you like it, but isn't there an element of faith when you put it in front of a guest, a customer, even a family member, that they're going to like it or sense what you're trying to create? Isn't faith really the element for everything that you do? outside of just trusting God, when someone comes in your restaurant, that's faith. When they sit down, that's faith. When they take that first bite, that's faith, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it all comes, you can't pin it into one category on its own. Just for me to take the leap of faith to go into this, and it's in Abington. I was like, my hometown. I was like, what is God planning? And then it just opened up, and it's been a blessing ever since. Not just for me, because I don't think blessings are just for, like, when certain things happen. It's not just for the person who it's happening to. It's also for everybody else around. Because opening Yaz's Table has been a blessing to me, my family, but it's also been a blessing to the community, because it's been a way that not only have we been able to serve others, but it's been a way for guests to come in and actually feel so loved, so warm. And that's our goal. That's always been our goal. But with the faith of people coming in and actually having a churn of heart where they're not so on the defense. Because a lot of people, they go to restaurants every day, but they're on the defense because whether something goes wrong or they feel like they're going to get cheated, or, the cliche of situations, or if something wasn't prepared right.
Or if it's just a lot of change, and you're not used to change. That could be a really defensive measure too. That's a different story, folks, for a different time. You do all that. And my first recollection of you serving veterans and desiring to serve veterans came from the wonderful interchange you had with Caitlin, the Abington High School student who wanted to place the chair in your restaurant. And for a lot of people, that might not be something they are used to doing. It's space, it's accommodation, it's this and it's that. But you put your arms around her, not only to allow her to do that, but also you took some time with her to kind of like talk to her as a peer and give her that mentorship type advice. So, where did that desire to allow this space for veterans in your restaurant, in your cafe, where did that come from for you?
Well, veterans have a very deep, warm space in my heart, personally. And having that being said, having the chair, just the chair on its own, it's a permanent fixture that represents to others that not every vet came home. Yeah. They served, and freedom isn't free. Like, they had to pay for their lives to give us what we have today. So as every guest walks in, like, it's strategically placed right next to the host stand. So as soon as guests walk in, that's the first thing they see, off to the right. And I wanted to speak loud, because some people just see vets. I don't know. I just know when I was a teenager, I was working at a gas station in Brockton, right across the street from the VA hospital. And that was my first...
It's still there. The gas station's still there.
Yes, it's changed names, but in the VA hospital. That was my first time really being exposed to the day-to-day life of veterans, because when you first, they come through, when people are looking at them or the way they're treating them, some of them weren't sound mind. Some people will be like, oh, that's just a mental institution. I'm like, no, it's not. And the way I was exposed to how the public was treating them, it broke my heart, because they don't realize deep down that's a person who sacrificed their life, probably seen things that you wouldn't even watch on TV, or you're lucky that you only experienced it through TV. And it bothered me so much to the core that I took care of them when they would come into the gas station. And it wasn't just a gas station, it was a huge convenience store at the time. So that was really where I was able to connect. And then I just felt like having the opportunity of running Yaz's, I'm like, this is a place where I can actually show people who our vets are, and what they represent, and what they've done for us. So it's been an amazing experience just being able to have that space.
One of the things that came about recently is you've opened your cafe for Veterans Coffee Hour every Friday from 8 to 9. I've seen veterans come in and talk to Adam Gunn, the Director of Veteran Services. And they come in, and some of them haven't come into your cafe before, but they come in and the defenses come down. They get a great cup of coffee and they start talking to him about what they need in a place where I'm thinking, if they didn't do it at your place, where would they do it? And so that really spoke to me. But also, I've seen you out at the Memorial Day at the cemetery, and you're serving pastries and the oatmeal raisin cookies, yes.
I know it's your favorite.
and the coffee, and then you've come to the Council on Aging Veterans Day celebration event, and you're there, and people see you and interact with you, and you're part of the community. And it's not just you; it's your staff as well. Like, it's not like, oh God, Yaz is telling me to go here and pour coffee. Like, they're into it; they want to be there, and that came from you. How did you make it to where they feel the same thing you're feeling?
Well, a big part of it is every single morning at the restaurant, a half an hour before we open, the entire team and I, we sit down and we have breakfast together in the dining room. And for that half an hour, it's a great opportunity for the staff to learn me, for me to learn them, for us to talk about the day. But as these events come up, I talk from my heart. I tell them why I do what I do. I share stories, maybe too many stories, with them in personal notes, so then they can feel the heart behind why we do what we do, and we volunteer for this and we volunteer for that. Or we don't get so upset when certain things happen because we don't know where that person's coming from and what pains they're suffering, so they might just be projecting. So how do you just fight dark with light, and us being the light? I mean, I almost feel like my restaurant's my ministry, and I minister to the team, but it's in such a beautiful way for them to open their minds and be like, wow, I could see things from a different view. And so when they come to support whatever it is that we may be doing, such as the veterans events, they're doing it with the passion that they see coming off of me. And I just love that, and you don't see that all the time.
When you watch a veteran either come into your restaurant, mm-hmm. or you're at one of these events and you serve them a cup of coffee or an oatmeal raisin cookie, what's it doing to you when you see them enjoying what you prepared, transported, and served them? And you say it's a ministry, but maybe that's not too far off the mark. Maybe you are ministering to their souls in a way that they don't even realize at that time.
I mean, I appreciate you saying that. I feel that way too when I see the veterans coming in and they're coming together. It's a safe space for them, first and foremost. And for them to receive, it's like they served us, and to be watched for them to be served as well. So it's just a community of everyone serving everyone in that nature. And I tell a lot of business owners, you don't have to serve there's so many different ways to serve. I mean, you could serve a vet or anybody just by listening, having an ear, let them tell their story. Like, what other beautiful way just to doing that? Some people say for monetary reasons that they can't afford to give away certain things because they're just opening their business, or it's not about discounts. I mean, sure, if you can as a business owner, absolutely do that. But it's also about providing in other ways and being creative with it. But the whole point of it is letting them know that they're appreciated for what they've done. And now it's time for them to sit back and receive that appreciation from others. I think that's the biggest, when I do sit down with other vets and I listen to their story and I hear where they're coming from, I think sometimes it's hard for them to accept any type of service coming to them other than them providing it. And that part, it's like, how do we bring those walls down? How do they feel like, hey, come through, don't feel like you're taking advantage of, because it's the least that we can do for them, for what they've done for us.
So you kind of answered my question already, but I want to ask it in a different way. A lot of people in business have come to me and said, you know what, I have this, X, whatever it is, and I want to get started, but I'm not sure how to start. Will the veteran think I'm an imposter? Will they think, I'm trying to take advantage of them? But I want to start. How do I start? And I try to say, just start. But what would you tell somebody who has an idea, has a concept, has a product, and they want to get started but are not quite there yet mentally to do that?
Are you speaking in regards to which crowd?
Okay, so I'm a business owner,
mm-hmm.
and I want to start, and I'm trying to work up the courage, and I'm trying to, be taken seriously when I'm in this space where I'm not a veteran. I didn't serve, but I want to let people know that I care about what they did for our country. Mm-hmm. How do I get there mentally to sit there and say, I'm taking my space, my product, and here it is for you?
Well, I think the first thing that comes to my mind is ask them what makes them feel welcomed, what makes them feel special. I mean, we all think, oh, this is what's going to work. Well, did you ask? Did you check in with them? Because maybe they're going to be on their defense. Maybe that actually is going to rub them the wrong way. Maybe to them, based on their training and service, what you're trying to do is doing the complete opposite. So for me, and I think I've done that with you and Adam, which has been great to come to and be like, what makes you feel good walking into a place? How do you feel appreciated for your services? And that's not too much, not too heavy. I remember one vet had said to me, "Oh, I just can't stand it when there's like cameras everywhere." No offense to all that's happening here, but they don't like to be on the spot. I'm like, okay, I can respect that. To me, I'd be like introducing them to other people, but some people don't feel that way. So it's really a one-on-one. Get the view of those you're trying to serve to understand how you can contour it to pleasing them. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the lights and cameras and it's written in the papers. It's about the individuals we're doing it for, even if it's in the dark. If you're not getting any effort for, credit for it, what's the point of doing it? Is it because you want credit or because you're doing it for the souls that you're targeting to?
Yeah. You've got national recognition.
Oh, stop.
You do. Come on now. Don't be so modest. But you got national recognition. You're well known here. But people still, how do I find Yaz? Now, I can find you from anywhere in the world. I know your grid azimuth coordinates. It's in the internal GPS. But if someone wants to come to the restaurant and the cafe, two different places, how they do that?
I don't know if this is a trick question, but
well, it's just I have to ask it because I get like, "Where's Yaz's?" I'm like, "It's right on Route 18 between Sullivan's and the Cream." I said, "You can't miss it. You can't miss it." Well, I drove by there. I'm like, "You weren't looking." Sorry, some of us Marines have two left hands. It's a long story.
No, it's actually fair to say because the way the building is laid out, it's not in my favor. So when you do Route 18 now that it is 4 lanes. It's hard because people just drive really quickly. But if you see the big red cream ice cream shop, it's huge. Great ice cream, by the way. I am connected to it, literally connected to it. And it's the blue building off to, well, it depends on which side you're going on. And then the cafe is next to that, but even further back a little bit. So the visibility aspect of it on Route 18 is not the greatest. So if you can't miss the big red ice cream building for sure. So that, I guess, would be the best way to capture that.
Fair enough. Look, we could sit here and spend hours just going over starting the restaurant. We just barely scratched the surface. But for this time that we have together, as we close this down and all good things come to an end, what do you want people to come away with after watching this? What do you want them to know about you in closing, please?
To know about me. Well, I mean,
you, the table, Yaz's table, the cafe, what should they take away?
Just the fact that, my whole thing is that I don't want my restaurant just to be a restaurant. Like the whole concept of it is to be an extension of home for them, an extension of family. When they come in, they see familiar faces, they get greeted with love, and to know that we're real people serving real people. So we're not perfect, but how we try to recover situations, we're not out to get anybody. We're just out to make a difference. And that's, I think, the biggest part of it. And then with the cafe being available, I opened the cafe 7 days a week because we have to close on Mondays at the restaurant. And I always feel terrible when I see people pull in the door on a Monday. I'm like, because what we do in that tiny space, it's impossible not to have one day to be able to close, to get everything clean and re-prepped and what have you. Big part of opening 7 days at the cafe was there to still be a piece of Yaz's table available for people. So even if it's not sitting down having a full brunch experience, you can still grab something on the go that you know is going to fill you. Not just that, but it's good quality. Like I can't cut corners. Even if it shuts me down, I will not cut a corner. And it's honest people serving honest food and wanting to be part of serving. And I don't know if that's the best way to explain the vibe.
I think you said, if I listen to you, that you have a way to serve. You have a way to connect with people. And for anybody else out there, you found a way to make it work for you, for the standards you have, but also to stay true to that thing where this is home. My restaurant is your home, and I think that's what I come away with every time I come to your restaurant.
Well, good. I'm glad that you feel that way, for sure. And that's what we try. I mean, again, I'm not saying that we're always perfect and we're always on the point. Things happen. But I actually noticed that people give us a lot more grace when things don't go the right way every time. And it's humbling because in this industry, I don't see that often.
Yeah.
Especially when a restaurant messes up. People are like, okay, where am I going to get it comped? You know, and it's like they don't try to gouge. They know that it's an honest mistake, and then we try to rectify it as best as we can. You remember that time when the kitchen shut down when something happened, and I canceled the whole shift where it was, I think, at 10 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, and huge pieces of equipment in the restaurant had shut down, malfunctioned. And so we still were able to feed people, but it was like trying to cook in your mom's kitchen, like really slow, really cramped. Things took like 45 minutes where it should have taken 15 minutes for you to get your plate. And then I posted on social media, I wrote, I'm so sorry for the inadequate service, because I have a standard for how we serve, and if we don't meet that standard, I don't want your money. So I wrote to everybody, whoever dined with us today, please use your receipt for the next time you come in, and we'll put a full, almost like a credit to 100% of what you paid for today towards your next meal. And I was expecting everybody to jump on that, honestly. I mean, who wouldn't? But nobody did. I want to cry, like literally. I didn't experience that.
Those kind of people that are in Abington, the kind of people that you serve them, you fed their soul.
Right.
And they're there for you.
That was, at that moment is when I felt it. That moment I felt the heart of my community, and I felt part of it. And this was maybe year 2 when this happened.
Yeah.
And I was just like pushing. I was like, oh my God, we messed up, oh my God, But then to see that nobody took advantage of that, it was the community just saying, hey, yes, it's okay. And I felt, oh my God.
Well, we are glad you're part of the Abington community, and not just part, the fabric of the Abington community. And we certainly, on behalf of the Department of Veteran Services for the town of Abington, we thank you for your support and continued support of what we do. I know Adam does. This is just too short a time. We got to have you come back on. But again, yes, thank you very much.
No, thank you. And thank you, Town of Abington. Appreciate you guys.
So again, this is Travis for the Abington Veterans Muster. You've heard someone tell their story about how they serve veterans and continue to open their heart and their place of business for people in Abington and all around. So again, that's it. I hope you have a very safe and happy Thanksgiving, my favorite holiday. And as we say here at the Abington Veterans Muster, you are now dismissed! From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we will fight our nation's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Hoorah!